Are you ready to scale and outsource your business?
Okay, let's go.
Welcome to the Outsourcing and Scaling Show. I'm your host, Nathan Hirsch, a show where we talk about everything Amazon, Shopify, e-commerce, and digital marketing. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Outsourcing and Scaling Show. Today I have a very special guest, Stephen Diaz. Stephen, how you doing today?
Doing super well, Nathan. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. We're excited to have you. For those of you that don't know, Stephen and his wife, Chelsea, are well known for their photography and filmmaking. But after years of trading dollars for hours, they mastered the art of passive income. By honing their strengths and hiring out their weaknesses, they have built an online empire of cash flow generating assets. In 2017, Stephen and Chelsea created Rainmakers Academy, turning their attention to helping others achieve passive income online. Rainmakers Academy helps stay-at-home moms create six-figure businesses online through Amazon FBA during nap time. Throughout this journey, Stephen has developed a focus on Instagram and using the platform to powerfully drive consistent traffic and Amazon sales. I love the during nap time and the passive income approach. So before we talk about all that, we're going to talk a lot about Amazon. Let's take a gigantic step back. What were you like growing up as a kid? Were you an A+ student? Were you a rebel? Did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. It's funny, my mom was reminding me of my entrepreneurial tendencies as a kid. And actually she's like, it's no surprise like you love outsourcing stuff, because as a kid, I guess I would pay my sister to do my chores for me. I would have to clean my room. I'd be like, hey, Laura, do you want to clean my room for me? I'll pay you. I forget what I paid her. It was like some ridiculous amount. I'd pay her like $10 or $20 just to clean my room so I could play video games. So as a kid, I learned at an early age, hey, if you're willing to to pay for someone to do stuff for you, it can free you up to do what you love. And at the time as a kid, it was play Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So I was all into that. I would pay my sister to do my chores so I could keep playing my video games. But yeah, I would say I was very entrepreneurial as a kid. I didn't ever really, I feel like I did okay in school, but I wasn't ever like straight A student. That was definitely my sister, my older sister. But I was always entrepreneurial, always trying to find ways to do a little side hustle, to, buy candy at Costco and then sell it at school, or, always trying to think of the new ways to usually fund what I wanted to do. So usually it was like, I want to buy a skateboard. So I would think about, okay, how can I raise money? How can I get $100 as like a, 13-year-old, like to buy a skateboard? And so that's how I got into the whole, outsourcing, but also just entrepreneurship was usually out of some sort of motivation to buy something as a kid.
I love it. So did you go to college? Did you graduate college?
Yeah, so I ended up going to college to study film production. You said that in my bio, but yeah, in high school, I took a class, like a video class, and that's where I really fell in love with video production. And I don't think before that time I'd realized that you could actually make a career out of video. But then when I took it in high school, I think the teacher was like, yeah, people actually like do this. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I went to college, studied film production. I still do a lot of filmmaking. My wife and I do filmmaking and photography still pretty much full time. But it is one of those jobs that it's trading dollars for hours. You can only make so much because you can only work so many hours in a day. You can only take so many jobs. So over time, actually starting in college, I really started experimenting with extra sources of income, or really stretching that filmmaking skill to add things onto it that would create passive income on the side.
So how'd you go from filmmaking to Amazon?
Yeah, man. Oh, this is a long journey, but I'd started probably with Tumblr. Do you remember Tumblr?
I do remember Tumblr.
Yeah. So I ran in college, I started a Tumblr blog all about filmmaking. And so started talking about, filmmaking tips and tricks, reposting tutorials. And that's when I learned about Amazon affiliates. So their affiliate program on Amazon, you promote, Amazon products, you make a tiny little cut. And as a college student, this Tumblr blog got really popular. And so I started making money on this affiliate marketing on Amazon. And at the time it was probably like $20 a month, but I was so stoked because I was in college. I was like, I was broke at the time. So any money, any extra money like that was just amazing. I think that's when I got like the hook, like the bug of like affiliate marketing, passive income, and just being like, whoa, I could like make up stuff on the internet and make money. Like, it's like crazy. So I actually, a funny story about that. When I proposed to my now wife, I went to her dad and asked him for permission to marry her. And he was kind of like, asking the typical dad questions like, hey, well, what do you're in college. What do you plan to do after college? And my answer to him was the most ridiculous answer. I said, well, I plan to work for the internet because I was running this Tumblr blog and I was like, man, this is it. Like, I'm just going to grow this thing and be a filmmaker and just make money on the internet. And it's really funny because that kind of has happened since then. But it's been definitely a slow process and building as we go. And with Amazon specifically, started with affiliate marketing on Amazon, then heard about FBA and really just went all in with private labeling, learning everything about private labeling we could, doing some, of course, selling like books and things like that, wholesale. But yeah, FBA is definitely where it's at for me, where I definitely saw the light, because when I saw how much you could make on FBA and how like hands off it could be when you utilize Amazon's warehouses and all their resources, that's when I was like, this is awesome because it's scalable and it doesn't take more of my time.
I love it. Funny story. So when I first moved from Connecticut to Florida and I brought my Amazon business down here and I actually opened up an office, when we were going to rent out apartments or to get an apartment, the guy asked what we did. And we said, we were an Amazon seller. He goes, oh, so you work for the internet.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so you're selling on Amazon. You started with books a little bit too. I did that for a while. That's how I got into Amazon. And along that journey, I actually came to that decision. It's like, okay, do I teach other people how to sell on Amazon or do I just do it myself? And you kind of keep it secret and all your knowledge is inside your head. What made you go that direction? Because honestly, if I could do it over again, I probably would have gone in that direction. At the time, I kind of had the mentality of scarcity and competition, which has completely changed in the past 5 years. But what made you want to go out and teach other people to do what you were currently doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was always hesitant to teach people, like when it came, well, I guess with filmmaking, with my blog, when I was in filmmaking, I was all about teaching. I was all about, hey, I learned a lot of this stuff. I went to film school, but I learned most of what I learned from other people, like YouTubers or filmmakers ahead of me. So I was all about pass on that information. So that's always been a value of mine. And my mom's a teacher, my dad's a pastor. So like, I feel like the teaching is in me somehow, So when I got into Amazon, it really started with just friends and family. I became what I call like an Amazon evangelist. I was just like, you guys, like, you've been ordering stuff from Amazon all these years. You have no idea. Like, it's coming from people like me. Like, and I was just telling everyone, actually, I think one of the first people I taught was my mom. I was like, Mom, like she's entrepreneurial too. And I was like, you need to get into Amazon. And so I started teaching her. I started teaching a small group of kind of like a beta group of just like, hey, let's see if I can teach people this. And I've really found over the years, I learn more when I teach, and by giving, I actually get a lot, and I actually consume, like, I almost like, if I was just doing it on my own, it's kind of like school, right? Like in school growing up, doing it on my own, it's probably like B's and C's, Right. But in school, if I had to go teach someone or do a presentation or something, that's when I would really dive into the info and be like, oh, I really got to learn how this thing works so I can teach someone. So for me, the teaching side of things has really helped our own Amazon business and internet marketing. And really just by giving, we've actually got a lot just from like learning from that teaching process.
I love it. I completely agree. I mean, that's how I learn best too. So let's talk about hiring. It's the Outsourcing and Scaling Show.
Yes.
Who was your first hire and how did that go?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. I think I've learned over the years, don't ever expect love at first hire, It definitely takes some work and definitely takes some things. But thankfully over the years, I mean, like Free Up, there's like so many services now that make the process so much easier. I'm trying to think through my first like ever like online hire, like virtual assistant, you know, because we use a lot of virtual assistants for things. Um, I think the first big one was when we switched our photography website we switched from Squarespace to WordPress, and then we decided to switch back, which was a terrible idea, like just to switch so many times. And we had thousands of these blog posts that transferred, but none of the images transferred. And so I was like, okay, one of us, my wife or I, we could rock, paper, scissors and transfer images for years, or we could hire someone overseas to do it while we sleep. And I think that was a big first, like, okay, let's see if this works. And it was a pretty easy job. You know, it's literally just download the photos, upload them to this other site. But the guy we hired, he's from the Philippines, did an amazing job, like super fast. That job has got to be not the most fun job, but he was like so joyful in the process. He's telling us about his family, and like we're supporting his family. And it was like so cool. And now he still works for us to this day, doing random tasks like that. We've given him even more responsibility now, but it started with just a simple thing. And I think like with outsourcing, everyone is, I think, really afraid to outsource. I feel like at the first, like it's like hard to like let go control of things sometimes. So I think that was key for us, is starting with something that was very just like easy. Like I was just like, you know, like he can't mess this up. And then working up from there. And over the years, we've really, with all our businesses, even photography, video, even those more like creative, like intensive editing things where, especially as like an artist, most artists are very protective of like, I don't want to let someone do the editing for me because that's like my secret sauce, you know?
Right.
But I think over the years we've learned it's really not about that I'm the only person that can do it. It's that like, I just haven't learned to communicate how to do it to someone else who has the skills. And so, yeah, starting with the baby steps of like the small hires, the easy tasks, and then working your way up from there. And that's what I love to teach people on Amazon too, especially because we work with stay-at-home moms and they don't have a lot of time already. So I tell them like, yeah, you can take these photos yourself with your iPhone and spend hours trying to edit them, or you can just send them to this person who does it for you, and then send it to this other person who edit it for you. And it just makes, I mean, starting from that place of just learning to outsource right away in your business, you can just grow so much faster and have so much more freedom.
So I want you to think of the best virtual assistant you have right now, your favorite one out of all of them. What makes them so good?
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. It's probably that guy Mitchell is his name. And I think it is that it's just that rapport we built over the years of that, we know about his family. We stay in touch. Like it's become more than just like a transactional relationship. He keeps us in the loop with stuff. Like if, he's down on work with other projects he's doing, he'll let us know and I can come up with more work for him, And so it's like, and then I kind of the same way, Hey, Mitchell, we're launching this new thing. I don't know if it's going to be successful yet, but so are you willing to work and just commit to this thing? It might only be like an hour a week, but hopefully it can grow. And so we both have had kind of our entrepreneurial journeys side by side. And I don't know, I think that's been a fun relationship. Like we're on total opposite sides of the world, but we're both helping each other out. We're both giving value and both supporting one another's families, which is pretty wild.
I love it. Do you have any hiring horror stories that you can share?
Hiring horror stories. Ooh. In the wedding industry specifically, I'm getting off topic with Amazon, but in the wedding industry, there's a lot of people who try and do editing in like wedding videos specifically. And that's a hard thing to really nail. So I've seen some pretty bad wedding edits, I should say. But we've been able to find a really great company that helps us with, they're like an agency that helps us with some of the wedding editing. But that definitely can go south when maybe the freelancer doesn't speak English and they're trying to edit these intimate wedding vows, and it just ends up going the wrong way. That's I think I've only seen one or two of those that we've tried. Like, I feel like when you're hiring someone, it's just good to test and try things. And there's a couple of people we tried on that side of things where it's like, no, I don't think they're going to get it, even with some work. But yeah, nothing too crazy. No crazy horror stories. Yeah, knock on wood.
So let's talk about Amazon. And the question that I always get asked is, what should I hire first for my Amazon business? So now I get to flip this on you. What should your students hire first? The average Amazon seller, what should they be thinking?
Yeah. So we work with a lot of like very green, brand new, never heard of Amazon FBA before type sellers. So they're just really getting their feet wet with Amazon. And so what I really encourage them to do is start with those, things that they could maybe do themselves, but it's not worth it. Like, it's not like the photography, the editing, like of those photos, putting graphics on the photos, even like listing optimization, things like that. Like, I think it is good to, like, when you're starting your business, to really get hands-on things, to know what you're doing. But if you have a coach, who's walking you through the process, if you have good systems in place, then having people who can just speed up that process, and then you can just like check it, that's going to save you so much time. So I really, with our program where we work with stay-at-home moms to help them launch Amazon businesses, that's like one of the main focuses, is outsourcing a lot of those things, even down to like, we teach them how to grow Instagram accounts that drive traffic to their Amazon businesses, even down to outsourcing parts of that Instagram account where it's not that, it doesn't become this soul draining part of the business where they are like having to spend so many hours on it. It's something more where they can, we can go on vacation and this thing's just going to run in the background, and because we have our system set up.
So let's talk about Amazon in 2019. Walk us through your strategy, because I feel like we're in the year of the brand. No one wants to build an Amazon business anymore. They want to build a brand, and Amazon is one channel. So drop some knowledge on how people can do that more effectively.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Instagram is one of my focuses. I know it's just one small piece of the puzzle, but I think Instagram is such a visual platform that it really lends itself well for products, and for building a brand around your product and getting your customers to really fall in love with your brand. One example, one of our students, her name's Nicole. She's awesome. And her main product is a baby sleeper. It's like a pillow for newborns that helps them sleep. And her whole like brand is built around a story. The product is actually named after her own son. His name's Joey, and the product's named Jojo. And, when they were having their son, he was having a hard time sleeping, and they really came up with this product as a solution for that. And so our whole Instagram is all just serving that mom customer, that new mom with a young kid. And, it's not even like, she doesn't even post about the product that much. She's just telling her life. She's showing the behind the scenes. It's almost like that influencer, kind of model. And I see that like being really, people I feel like are drawn towards that authentic real life, like who's the person behind this brand. And on Instagram, it's a really easy platform to do that, where you can share, the stories, the behind the scenes. And then every once in a while you can say, and here's our product, and link to the Amazon store. So I see a lot of people doing that. And I think there's a lot of power in that. But there are so many different social media platforms. It's hard to really like, if you're not outsourcing, it's hard to be on all of them, So I always say, if you're not on any, start with just one, whether it's Instagram or Pinterest, or you just want to go in on Facebook, or I don't know, wherever your people are, your people buying your products, and then build your brand there. And just like getting those extra sources of traffic and extra fans, basically, that you can bring along in the process and connect with your brand.
I love it. Any last tips about outsourcing, about Amazon, about Instagram that you want to share?
Yeah. We've been seeing a lot of success with our students on Instagram with repost style accounts. So I know like there's different opinions with reposting, accounts, but one thing on Instagram is like if you're having to create all the content yourself, it can be very, like time intensive. So how we've seen some students, and we even have a personal brand like this that gets a lot of traffic, is through themed repost accounts that are driving traffic to your product store. So for example, we have a student who, he sells like farmhouse kitchen products. So they like are really trendy looking, cool kitchen products. And so instead of like making an Instagram where it's like all his brand, it's only his product, he made an Instagram account called Inspired Kitchens. And literally all it is reposts of just like really nice looking kitchens, right? So people follow that account because they love seeing, like the people who follow that account, they love seeing cool kitchens, like kitchen inspiration, basically. Right. But then behind that brand, like in his Instagram story highlights, in his bio and his link, it does say, check out our, product of the month, and it links to his Amazon store. So it's just like, it's kind of and you can build really as many of those accounts as you want and drive traffic, automate a lot of that process to drive traffic to your Amazon page. So that's been a fun thing we've been messing with, is really creating these fan accounts based on themes instead of on the brand. But then having the brand be a part of that where it is driving traffic to the Amazon store from all these platforms.
Steven, this has been awesome. I learned a lot. I've been trying to figure out Instagram for the past year. If you asked me a year ago anything about Instagram, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, where can people find out more about you, and what are you most excited for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So if you're interested in Instagram, we have a free Instagram course of swipeupsecrets.com. And in that course, I basically went on Facebook. It was kind of the same thing when I was learning all the Instagram stuff. I wanted to teach it. So I went on Facebook and just taught a group of friends pretty much all these crazy Instagram techniques that I saw like mega influencers using on Instagram. And not all of them are like, I would say not all of them that are recommended, but I wanted to just like break everything down that people are doing, because a lot of the stuff you see on Instagram is manipulated. Unfortunately, like there's a lot of people manipulating the algorithm and things like that. But I wanted to just like kind of like expose all that stuff in one course, but then say, okay, now you know everything. Like you can choose if you want to do this, like whatever makes sense. So we talk about like influencer marketing, talk about Instagram automation, all those things in that course. And that's free at swipeupsecrets.com. And then if anyone has any questions about Amazon, Instagram, you can hit me up on Instagram. So my Instagram is Steez Diaz. It's STEEZ and then DIAZ.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, and I'm sure we'll be in touch for the rest of the year.
Sweet. Thanks, Nathan. Talk soon.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Did you enjoy this content? If so, click like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel so we can continue bringing you great content all about hiring.